Hi Marco, thanks for having a talk with us again. The biggest interviewee probably on the Sim Expo. We want to talk a little bit of ACC and your plans for the future perhaps. We've read a lot about the developers' blogs in the forum, which I personally really like, that you have different categories and that Aris got to write an article or more articles, and Kevin, Minolin and Luca for the sound. Yeah. That was a very interesting read. Was it a plan to do it that way, or was it more like Aris write something down and the others see, oh, maybe I can do that as well, or is it part of the marketing strategy?
No, it's all about passion. Because Aris to me, look, I wrote this kind of blog. I would like to share with the guys, with the community, what we are doing, because I believe this is important. And I just take a look to the papers to see if there was something, you know. We are working with a very important license like the Blancpain, and with all the manufacturers. That means a different kind of attention. Not because there are things that you can't tell, because we don't have secrets, but just in the way that you have to make clear, especially about, for instance, our partnership with Pirelli, that when we say something, we do it in the right way. But just take a look to what he wrote. It was great. So yeah, let's do it. And then he replied with aerodynamics, and Kevin did the same. With the ratings, at the end I did it also by myself, because hey, I'm the last idiot at Kunos. So because I was missing actually what we are going to give you in the first build. So I wanted to give a rough idea about, for instance, how and why we decided to include the Nürburgring GP as first track in the game, as well as the Lamborghini.
Oh yeah, of course, on Facebook I think you wrote.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
yeah, because at the beginning I did it in the forums, but actually since I'm not so present in the forums, because I manage other kind of things, and I usually share these kind of things on Facebook. I believe that it was like more appropriate to me to share it on the audience that usually follow what I write on Facebook, because just because I don't use and type on the forum so much, not as I would, but
I mean the major stuff. I think you have 5,000 subscribers on Facebook, the max of what's possible.
Honestly, I don't know, but yeah.
So the chance
and,
that
a lot of people then share that.
and the info is on race department, next minute, or on Reddit.
And there are a lot of racing websites that then share the same comments on their blogs, like you, race department, and so on.
So it don't has to come directly from the forums, but can also be spread in another way, for example. What is your goal to achieve from AI count, from the number of maximum AI? Can you tell us something about that? Because in Spa they race with 50, 60 cars.
At the moment, since the Nürburgring GP is a sprint race, so that has about 20 cars, while in Spa there were the endurance. I think that we had 60 cars in the race. Of course, in the game we have some limitation due to the hardware that you can add. So that if you have a high-end machine, you can have more opponents, and if I have a lower machine, I can achieve the same kind of level of details or opponents and so on. I don't have the answer yet, because our goal is at least 30. So moving from 24 in EC1 to 30. And then we'll see how many cars more we can achieve, because we still use for the opponents the same physics of the driver, because it works very well, and we are not going to change completely the system, because when you have a single player race, sometimes it's like you are racing against other human opponents. That I believe that is better than just having 50 cars that just go on the track like binary or script AI and so on. So
also remember
our goal is at least 30. Then if we can add more, we will do that. Real Engine is a very different engine than AC1. So the way how he managed a lot of stuff, not just the graphics, but also the data, the calculation is pretty different. So we are still investigating.
I remember that Stefano, while developing of the AI for AC1 was ongoing, that there were some pretty frustrating moments for him, especially for the Nordschleife, to create a clean running AI.
Don't mention the Nordschleife to Stefano, because he hates that is my favorite track, for instance.
Mine as well,
like Suzuka, for instance.
But I don't have to work with the track the way he does, so probably that's it.
The problem with AC1 is also that we have so many different cars that behave in a very different way. So the braking distance you have with a BMW is not the same you have with a Lamborghini, for instance. So creating an algorithm that can be good for any kind of car on a complex track like the Nordschleife is not easy.
Was the question if you would add cars outside of the Lamborghini series, not in DLC form, but the cars that were racing at Spa, for example, like the Huracan Trofeo or the Porsche GT3 Cup. Is there plan to include those?
It's planned to include all the cars that join the 24 race, including the Super Trofeo, the Honda NSX GT3, that maybe next year will take part to the championship. We don't know yet, but it should be. But anyway, we'll have the car there, as well as the Porsche Cup GT3.
Then we have a question about the multiplayer capabilities of ACC. I think we've heard about the possibility to add a spectator mode that was talked in your race department interview, I think. Is that still in the plans? And
we don't have it yet, and at the moment I don't know at which point we can release it. It could be part of the final release of the game. But definitely we want to provide some tools that are very important also to show the potential of the game. And if we do something for the esports, the tools like the spectator mode are very, very relevant, because otherwise it's very difficult to show actually what the game does.
And you have to put work in yourself with plugins for the overlay, for example.
What we already are doing, for instance, is that the highlight functionality, that at the end of the race you can see the software can recognize the most.
Also, it was really the replay highlights I was talking about, because I read it like highlights and replay related.
It already does. If you see at the end of the race, when you see the automatic replay before the game shows you the leaderboard, you can see the replay behind. And this is not just the replay, it's just some of the moments of the replay, so it really works. But we'll also have a functionality on the button that you can configure on your wheel or gamepad or whatever, that if something happens during a race, and for instance you have a contact with another driver in an online race, and you want to ask for the director of the race, you can push the button so that you can automatically record the 5 to 10 seconds before and after you push the button, so that you can imagine in a 2 hours online race, if you had to find exactly the point where you had a problem, it can be a huge problem.
Sure.
If you have the highlight that you recorded because you push the button, you can take the replay and show it to the race director, so that he can judge the tools to see what happened.
That's I've never heard another sim doing that.
As well as you had a very good control of the car when she can.
Look at my slide, director.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
In AC1 we had booking server mode. It was the first implementation of a dedicated server, the booking server, and after that you had the open server to directly log into and connect to. Will you keep them? Is my question. Last year we talked about Stefano, and we said that we really liked it because for our purposes the race is really organized, it's perfect, but they are not sure, or Stefano was not sure that they will keep it in because it's not that frequently used perhaps. Is there anything you can say?
We'll keep the dedicated server option. We'll have the matchmaking this time, so that you can also have a race with people that you're rating, your scoring system and so on. But definitely we'll include again the dedicated server. About the booking system, things like that, we are trying to see if we can improve it in some way, also using the stats from AC1 to see actually what people prefer to use in terms of multiplayer, so that we can be focused on that features at our best.
What about Nordschleife? Is there a possibility to get Nordschleife because it's not part of the local GT series?
No, this is an important question. I mean, Assetto Corsa Competizione is the game of the Blancpain GT series, so after we release the 1.0 and the update of the 19th season, we'll investigate about the other cups and other part of the series that could be interesting for the gamers. I mean, there is the Intercontinental Asian Cup with the 4 tracks of Laguna Seca, Suzuka, Kyalami and Borsas that could be part of an additional package, as well as the Pirelli World Challenge in the United States, where they race on 7 tracks in America. Or we could move to the GT4 or to the historic GT1 series, but not just taking one car here, another there, but creating packages so that you can have the overall GT4 package, the overall GT1 package, and so on and so on.
Do you plan to release them as separate titles or as
No, as additional package for competition. So we'll see, for instance, if we are going for the 2020 to produce a new Assetto Corsa Competizione, or to provide a sort of seasonal package that can include the tracks and the cars of the 20th season, as well as new features that can be improved the overall package. This is still under consideration because we just released the first early access build 3 days ago. It's doing is running very well. People like it, so we have a very good feedback about that. On Steam today, the 87% of people had very good positive reviews.
Pretty high, actually.
Google says 97% of people like it. I don't know how they get this data, but I'm fine with that. And also the sales are doing very good. That is important, not just because of the revenues, of course, because you had to cover the investment that has been huge, but mainly because the guys at home has 6 months in development ahead. You can imagine that if you are working on something that people love, you got the right mood, you get the energy to get it, to make it even better and better. You can imagine how could be our mood that if we release the game and people will say, oh, this is crap, it doesn't work,
it's not really a launch because one car, one track.
And you have to continue to work on it anyway. It's like you make a marathon, you run for 40 kilometers, you arrive to the finish line and someone tell you, no, the finish line is 5 kilometers ahead.
And your shoes are wrong.
And you are done, and we had this experience and this feeling with Netcar Pro, our first game. It was horrible, honestly. And this time it could be even worse, but we have been lucky that people really love the game and we are getting a lot of positive feedback, and so it's very good to us to see that.
Before AC1, was there a big frightening, the thing you talked about, that you don't know how it will, how the community will take it. You had a negative experience with Netcar Pro. Were you frightened to release AC1? Or what was the general feeling before release?
That's a nice question. Actually, with AC1, we released a tech preview on March 2013. And that was an anticipation of the early access version in November. And it was following the first feedback we had at the Gamescom in 2012, when we showed in public for the first time the game, and people were very happy and enthusiastic. All the guys that tried the game at the Gamescom on 12 were really happy and excited about the game. So we figured out, okay, we are on the right path, and with the tech preview of AC1, we released it to check about the performance, the compatibility issues, the first feedback, the graphics, and also the comments were enthusiastic. So when we released the Assetto Corsa on Early Access, AC1, we were prepared about the fact that there is a very good and solid base. Let's see what happens. But we had already some answer. This time wasn't not so easy because Unreal Engine is a new engine for us. We got different kind of performance, different kind of graphics. We changed everything.
New team, for example.
The team has grown, and we have more people working on this. Really was a very big question mark also to us. Let's see what happens. This time we had also a very good Q&A testing team from 505 Games. That they have been very good in telling us, in finding the bugs, the crashes and things that didn't work or they didn't understand how they work. So we have been able to improve a lot of features and things also in the user interface before the game was released. So we are very stable, we have very few crashes that they should have been already fixed in the hotfix we released yesterday. Yeah. So, but we didn't knew what we can expect, so we are very happy and surprised about because the response of the people is even better than we hoped. So couldn't be better than that. Also. See that Assetto Corsa Competizione is about Tomb Raider. It's been released in the
top seller list on Steam. For
we like to release our games at the same time of very big brands.
So you can compare
with AC1 it was Call of Duty. This time it's Tomb Raider, Revolution Soccer, FIFA, NBA. Yeah. So, but it's doing well. So good enough.
For racing simulation, especially, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We found a good spot because there was just Formula 1 18 released just a few weeks before. In fact, at the beginning, when we say the early access is going to be released on summer, it was scheduled to be late August. Then Codemaster announced that Formula 1 had been released on 24 August, and it was a nonsense to release the game on the same week of F1 game. So, okay, we take more time to improve it, and it was needed to improve it because also Real Engine released a new version of the engine just 3 weeks before than us, and we had to change some things in the code because we had some little crashes or glitches here and there. We still have some glitches because of the last 4.20 version of the Unreal, but we are already trying to figure out what we can do for the next release to solve those glitches.
Last question maybe to wrap this up. I think you wrote on Facebook that this EA first build will include the Audi and the Ferrari, I think. Audi and
Ferrari,
as
other opponents, yeah.
And now there's the Mercedes as well. Is it a mistake that you didn't mention it,
no,
or was it an Easter egg? And
because
can we expect for the next release another surprise like that?
I don't know, because the surprise was due to the fact that we had the approval for the Mercedes at the very last minute because licensing matter can be very complicated. And we always want to make everything clear with our licensors. We have a very good relationship with all of them, including Mercedes. And since we need to fix some things on the papers, I prefer to stay a bit quiet. And since there was just one click to include also the Mercedes in the build or not, I told to the responsible for the car production, okay, stay quiet, wait for my goal, and because we could have some very last minute changes, and we did it. So we have been glad to include also the Mercedes.
Okay, I think then we're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And hope to see you next year, and hope to see ACC evolve as the community maybe hopes it will.
Hopefully, yes. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Great.